Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Reason why there is no such coaching anywhere on the internet like my coaching. I mainly coach in audio exchange and also telephone sessions. My main packages on my website that are the most popular, the link is directly below in the description for you to see other packages, but I'm going to discuss the most popular ones, the ones that really help you in my coaching, especially if you're starting out. So the audio exchange package works like this. You start out with a telephone session with me upon booking and signing the coaching agreement. And we discuss what you'd like to work on in your coaching. The session lasts an hour. I record that session for posterity to take my notes. And then we proceed to exchange audios. I ask you to start with childhood. We need to cover everything up until today, but we start with childhood into adolescence, college years, everything up until today. Now, you only can send one audio at a time. An audio should be 20-minute max. Reason why is because I listen to this audio more than once. I take my extensive notes and then I respond with my own audio analysis of your audio that you just sent me. Usually takes me a day or two. I ask questions that I would like for you to answer, and this is how we keep going. Okay, I give you further instructions towards, what I would like to cover next with you, and this is how we go. Usually this takes me about a month, okay, for thorough examination of what you have done thus far, what you have manifested thus far, what you have experienced, your blueprint, your beliefs. All of this is to map out really your beliefs that you're working with right now and why you are, in trouble, basically speaking. This is why I recommend 2 to 3 months minimum in coaching, okay? A month is great, but really it's not enough, okay? If you're coming back into my coaching, it's a little bit different, but everything is case by case, but still. But initially, when you're coming into my coaching, I really need to understand your history. Then and only then I'm able to help you. Without understanding who you are, I really am not. So 2 to 3 a month is minimum. The other most popular package is the telephone session unlimited deluxe. It's more or less the same idea, except we're on the phone 2 to 3 times per week. I record that session. Again, it's an hour long, and then I go through that session when we hang up and take my extensive notes once more. And then when we reconvene at the next session, I offer you my feedback, analysis, things that we need to continue working on. Okay, so it's a pretty involved process. We usually speak in both cases, in both packages, we speak 2 to 3 times per week. And of course, you have access to me via text and also email in case you have a question of any kind. So you have a lot of access to me. This is why this coaching is unlike any other coaching. If you have any questions regarding getting coaching, please email me. The email is directly below. Like I said, there are other packages for you to take a look at my on my website, but these are the two I would recommend. It's either audio or phone sessions. And to be honest, if you're just getting into my coaching, I would strongly suggest the audio, at least the first month. We can then upgrade it to being on the phone all the time. But in the beginning, it's just more... It's a lot more time. I invest like 2 to 3 hours per each audio, which is 20 minutes. depending on the density of the audio, how much information I need to write down. Because, like I said, I take extensive notes. And so for me, it's a lot easier to take notes from an audio rather than, and do it step by step this way, rather than have a whole hour of it in the beginning, especially because I'd like for it to be a regular exchange. And so preferably would be maybe second or third month that you're on the phone with me all the time, because by that time I already know your history and it's a lot easier for me to take notes, since I already know your what we've discussed before, about, like I said, childhood, adolescence, etc. Also, because when I'm on the phone with you, it's a live interaction, so I get to ask you questions. And this is why an hour, it's still an hour, I still need to go through it and write down my notes. But because I'm able to ask you questions, it's a different format, in other words, all right? After I cover the history and we get to work on things like forgiveness, beliefs, which I work on extensively in my coaching. Even when you don't think we're working on beliefs, we still are, because through my analysis, I point some things out to you that you need to pay attention to. Certain patterns, there's always a pattern with everyone. But then and only then, when we process the past and we worked on the beliefs, do we begin doing the manifestation work. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. You can't start with manifesting. For those of you who are really impatient, I just want to say this. You can't start manifesting in the capacity that you're really able to without processing the past and working on your beliefs. It's just not going to happen. So if this sounds like an arduous process to you, well, let me ask you this. How many years have you already invested in creating some shitty results? It's probably years, if not decades. Am I right? So a few months in coaching, even if it's like ends up being like 4 or 5 months in some cases, or even longer than that, maybe like 6 months or something like this, is not a tremendous amount of time compared to years and years of dysfunction. And usually when people get into my coaching, within 2 months, they already see a shift, a profound shift. They might not have everything that they want just yet, but in their psyche, there's a definite shift, and they look at things different, and therefore, at the very least, your perspective changes so much so that you start looking at things different, and there is no anxiety, there's no like crying and chasing for your speed, there's no, you get aha moments, you get realizations about why you are where you are. Things start to shift. Okay, so this is why I'm going at it this way, really profoundly, really meticulously, really pays off. At the end of the day, it's the right way to do things, and after all, you owe it to yourself to do it correctly, to help yourself once and for all. Again, if you've got any questions before booking, please reach out to me or comment below. So the subject of today is to how to turn a player into a faithful spouse. Don't ask me how I come up with these. I'm channeling most of the time. You guys know this all the time, actually. I shouldn't say most of the time. Even when I'm on the phone with my clients, even when I record audios from my clients, it's channeling. It's channeling work. These ideas can't entirely take credit for them, by the way. I feel like every time I take a bubble bath, a really great idea comes into my mind. So I just go ahead and record it. So this goes for also people who, have the third party situation, all these kinds of situations that really you feel like you're not chosen, you feel like somebody left you behind, you feel like you have competition, quote unquote, and you feel like, it's stressful. It's really stressful and kind of like really frustrating. Okay. The main problem of anyone who's having a manifestation problem of any kind, doesn't really matter if it's SP or anything else, really doesn't matter what it is. The problem is that you think that there is some kind of outside power that will grant you your wish or that will deny you of your wish somehow. When in fact, it's you who is commanding it into the visible. Everything already is, right? We discussed this last time and in the last audio on my channel. Everything already exists. The only thing that you're doing is by shifting your beliefs, that's your frequency, is make it into the visible. Create a different reality in your reality by shifting yourself into that parallel reality where what you want is visible. Everything you want is. So make no mistake about it. It's already existing. You're just directing the light of your consciousness towards a different reality. So if you've been experiencing that you know, your guy or your girl doesn't want you and he or she is a player and has many kind of different girlfriends or boyfriends, I mean, I'm doing an extreme example here, or has a third party, like I said, or has been dishonest, has been disrespectful, whatever the drama panorama is, right? This was created through your beliefs, through your perception of who this person is. It's your creation, okay? It's your creation. So, you know, if you created a player, somebody who's not faithful, dishonest, maybe even manipulative, this, for some reason, you created this to show yourself something, your fears, okay? Something that for a long time you've been avoiding. You haven't been wanting to look at. And usually there's a pattern. It's not just one isolated incident. It's not just one person. It's like other people have done this to you too. Or it doesn't have to be romantic, but something, it's a pattern of not deserving good things, not being chosen, not being good enough, these kinds of situations, being insecure, la la la. So the universe always knocks harder for you to hear them, because when you're asking for an improvement, when you are dissatisfied, you're already asking, like if I'm dissatisfied with something, simultaneously there's a solution that's being born. And so if I want to understand why the fuck I'm getting bad results, the universe will knock harder to get you the message that you're supposed to hear. And so an even worse player will show up if you don't resolve the situation within yourself. They are just the projection of your consciousness. So just keep that in mind, okay? For those of you who think that this is the person who is separate of you, walking around somewhere there and doing all these shitty things or whatever, not being here, period. It's not like that. It's your perception. That's what you think is happening, but you are creating this person to behave this way. Why? Because underneath it all, there's a program running. I don't deserve good things. This is just like the last time. They're going to choose somebody else. Oh my God, I'm so scared to lose them. All this fucking bullshit. Okay? That's what you do. Do you think the universe is like, doesn't have ears? Cannot hear you talk to yourself in your mind? Every time you have a thought of this kind and then it repeats itself on a loop day in and day out, you materialize these situations. Okay? If you think that you deserve to have a player in your world, somebody who disrespects you and has different partners and does all these kinds of crazy things, and has no regard for you or for your feelings, you have to ask yourself, why did I create this? Why did I create? And I know it's thrown around so much, but there's nobody else in the room creating this show of your life. That's the pure truth. Now, if you change your mind, you change your perception of them, and you start having a different dialogue through work on yourself, on your beliefs, on your a lot of people like to say self-concept. I like to say confidence. Just confidence, self-appreciation. self-concept, it's a little bit too vague. This is why I make fun of it. Has to be confidence. My self-confidence, my self-image of myself is that I'm a badass bitch. Okay? This is why I take shit from nobody. Okay? And I advise that everybody does the same thing in my coaching and on my channel. And so if in the past you were reacting towards that and not understanding that this is your creation, one more time, start being a savvy, badass bitch, okay? A savvy, sophisticated, informed, really, really on purpose kind of person, okay? And if you're a guy, then I don't know what the synonym is to bitch. I'm sorry. Somebody really confident, somebody who's creating on purpose and doesn't accept the things that are shown to them and starts understanding, well, this is just me and me. So all I have to do is change myself so the picturing changes. So if in the past you used to react and say, oh my God, I'm unworthy, they went with a third party, or even if they're kind of like took interest in somebody, or I don't know, there are many situations, whatever your situation is, okay? Instead of reacting like you used to, just say, oh, you think you're hot yet? Please. You think you can be like this, and you think you're like this guy who walks around like he's the center of the universe. Okay, you might be your center of the universe, but guess what? In my universe, I am the center of my universe, and you're my creation. So you're going to be acting as I want you to act. And you have never met anybody like me, and never have, never will. I'm the prize here. I think you've got the wrong program, wrong memo, some shit. I just came up with the male counterpart to bitch, bitcho. Badass bitch and badass bitcho. Just anyway, you tell them, oh, you want to go ahead and run around and act like a fool? Okay, go ahead, go do it. Don't give it any feeling, don't give it any reaction. Just say, okay, I know this is my creation. I don't have to cause a scene. I don't have to react in any type of way. I know I'm the prize here, and so I know what I'm made of. I know I'm the golden Buddha. I'm just going to go back to my drawing board and fucking script a new situation. Now here's the deal. Some of you believe in scripting and some of you don't. But I'll tell you something, scripting is miraculous. And if you get into my coaching, I'll teach you exactly how. You can change anybody by rescripting them, and you can also change the past through scripting, through the revision. You know this from Neville Goddard, but I do it very meticulously, very kind of like detail oriented, because it's really important what it is you're changing in the past, okay? If you are not specific, the past may change, and thus the present, obviously, okay? If you change anything in the present, the past changes, but so does obviously the present and the future. But you need to be really specific. And so another way to change this person to somebody who you really want them to be, other than assuming that they are already like that, is describe them as if the events happen differently, quite frankly. That they've always been faithful to you. They've always been all about you. You temporarily created a different version because you got insecure. You reacted to your own creation, to the 3D. And thus you saw a different reality. You saw a different reality. Guys, this is the realest fucking deal ever. In manifestation, you can simultaneously, in one experience with the same person, see several different versions of them. One who's an asshole, one who's a player, one who's a nice guy, the other one, kind of like in between or boring or some kind of like blend version of these things. you can experience different versions of this person. So if you sit down and take the time to get into my coaching and really take this shit seriously, you can change the past. You can literally instruct this person to have been a different way this entire time. And you will find that when you do this situation and take this really seriously, this person will not even, how can I say this? Your memories will change, but so will theirs. They will not recollect what happened before, or it will be something similar but not as bad. They will be a transformed individual because you have tuned in yourself into a different parallel past in which this person was never acting this way. Okay, they were always well-meaning. They always held the torch for you. You just saw a different reality. So now you kind of reminded of yourself that there are parallel realities, and you scripted yourself a new past. And contrary to popular opinion, whatever popular means, yes, you can do this with narcissists. Yes, you can do this with arrogant assholes. You can do this with most people, unless they have some kind of severe psychological disorder, which, and you really don't want to deal with them anymore. But you can do this with anybody. Meaning, not just your lover, not just your whoever, family member or friend or coworker or this and that. You can do this with anybody. You have to make it natural. You have to make it natural that yes, this parallel reality actually exists somewhere. Obviously it does, because there are innumerable parallel realities. So this version of this person also exists. So I'm free to imagine whatever the fuck I want. That I have to take some grain of truth from, I have to work with something good about them and then expand on that. But it has to be believable to you on some level, where it's yes, they could turn right around and become this version. But you start with confidence. Confidence, as you don't react to 3D. You don't attribute so much importance to them. You don't think they're such hot shit, meaning they're not any hotter than you. Okay, you're just as, if not more. You get to turn them into the most faithful, loyal, amazing partner, spouse, because you start thinking of them this way. Day in and day out. You can't just do this once and then set your pen down and say, oh, well, that's it. My work is done here. No, you really have to carry on thinking that this is the version you are interacting with right now. And if you're not interacting with them in the 3D, then it's that version that quote unquote is walking around there. And sooner or later, they will come contact you because they are this new version now. Because if this person, let's say, used to be a player, used to have many different, partners and blah, 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 blah. And now you think of them as, no, they are totally obsessed with me. Something clicked in their mind, parenthesis, it's your mind, but whatever. There's only one mind in the universe. It's yours. In your universe, that is. In my universe, is only one mind, which is mine. So something clicked in their mind because I changed my mind, and now they're thinking, I made a mistake. This was the one for me. What am I doing running around and being like an idiot over here? This doesn't make me happy, this lifestyle. I'd rather be with them. This is the only person that will ever satisfy me and make me happy. There's nothing else for me here. I want to go back and beg for forgiveness. This person really wants to apologize to you. If this is how you position yourself and this is what you start thinking day in and day out, trust me when I tell you that's exactly what they're thinking. Why? Because your thoughts are totally linked with the version of that person who is exactly this way. Is exactly that. I've done this so many different ways. That's like when this person SPs and different other kind of people in my life came back, like literally they read me back my script verbatim. They said the words that I scripted, they acted in the way that I wanted them to. It was like a Xerox machine copy. It was like spooky, but not really. I'm used to it by now. Spooky in the sense that, what a wonderful performance. Thank you for delivering. And you don't even have never read my script. But it's as if they're reading your script, having never seen it. But if you go back to reacting to social media, what they do or don't do right now, who they're with right now, or whatever the fuck they're doing, this is why I don't recommend looking at social media of any kind, then you don't have your attention on the reality that you prefer. Start being magnetic towards that reality, not the shit that you already created that you don't prefer. You know, what a magnetic person is? A magnetic person is one who is too preoccupied with their creation in their mind to pay the fuck attention to 3D. Because 3D is fucking 3D. Who cares about 3D that's just here temporarily? That's a very bad investment to keep paying attention to something that you don't prefer, even if it's in your face. In your mind, the next image that is going to be outpictured if you work on it properly can be a completely different story, completely different reality. So invest your attention wisely. The one who needs to change their mind is you. You can change anybody into anything, player into faithful husband, a person can leave their third party, they can propose to you, they can stop being rude to you or stop being, disrespectful and this and that or manipulative. If you change your mind about them and start contemplating, what kind of version do I prefer to put on them now? Okay, so they played the shitty version. I've seen that already. Kind of had enough of that. But you see how this is nonchalant? This is how it works. It's like, I've had enough of it. Yeah, been there, done that. Kind of like not really excited about this shitty situation. What kind of version do I want to put on them? And then paste it from the past all the way to the future, right? This is the version that's been playing the entirety of time, not just from this point on, but they've also been like this in the past. If you switch realities, the past is different once more. It's just different. You will see, you will have physical evidence that the past that you scripted is actually here, meaning the evidence of that past will be here. So if things happen differently, then this didn't happen, or this happened that way, and then you will find it will be something, whether an email or a text message or something will be drastically different that you'll see, I changed the past. This person is changed and I changed the past. You will tell them about some kind of an incident that happened between you, and they will be like, "What are you talking about? I honestly can't remember." They will have something will be different physically about them. You can even ask for the universe to show you a definite sign that you've definitely changed the past, whether something will be physically different about them or some different incident didn't happen, or you can even choose that. That's how specific you can be. But again, creating this way, on this level, right, requires confidence. And requires definite belief that you can do this, right? So if you only knew how easy it is to change someone and get them back and all this kind of jazz, it may just blow your mind if you're not used to this. Because some of you don't even believe that this is that easy. And so in your reality, it's not. But if you change your mind about that, it will be easy for you too. I'm a little bit kind of blasé about this by now because I've done this so many times and I don't take it like I don't know, so seriously, I guess you might say. But it's all about you. It's about you. You're the only one who needs convincing that this is possible. You're the only one who has to make that decision that this person is now radically different, drastically has changed their behavior, and is forever, like as long as you keep them this way, they will be this way. And if you want them to stay this way for the rest of their life, that's how they will be. And one last thing I wanted to say, people who are so-called players and the creation that seems so real to you right now, people who are in this way, who are kind of like all over the place and, or even lying or anything like that. Okay, yes, it's a creation, but there's another component here. Okay, the reason you attracted this kind of situation and created this is because you're insecure. If you become secure and say, okay, so you think you can act this way, go ahead and do that. Be my guest. That's not a problem with me. Whereas other people, or the women or the men, might react differently and say, oh my God, this is so la la la. No, you just say, well, that's your deal. We'll have at it. I guarantee you it will be a shocker to them. It will be like, what? You're not reacting? You're not playing along with my game? This is not impressive to you that I'm like this hot shit business over here? And your reaction will be, no, that doesn't impress me at all. Not even a little bit. Why? Because I know what I have to offer. I know who I am. I am completely the one you should be chasing. You have it backwards, darling. You have it completely backwards. When you're treated like this, unaffected, and you definitely mean it, you don't just say it like empty words, but actually stand in your power like completely strong, this guy or a girl at the very least will be like, I don't understand. This has never happened to me before. Who is this person? They are playing me at my fucking game. At the very least. And then you do the work on yourself and you turn the tables completely on them. And before you know it, they're the one chasing you the way that other people were chasing them. And you've whipped them into shape and created an entirely different version who's licking gem of your toes and doing just about anything you can ever ask them. And they have zero interest in anybody else because you said so. Because that's the confidence you carry yourself with, and that's what you commanded universe to do, and that's the creation that you transformed it into. Okay? Thank you very much for listening. All the information for me is below. Until next time, ciao, ciao.